Yakubu Gowon final statement. He came out apologizing to the Igbos because of the lives that were wasted in the war. He said that the reason the Fulanis and the Northerners are dying about the one Nigeria is because of the resources in the Igbo land, and that was the reason why the Igbo people were fought. This is coming out currently. Mr. Ralph,
Yeah.
Yakubu Gowon making this statement.
Yes, in the final days of his life, because he's bedridden right now in London, and living up to expectations, of the Igbos. What do I mean here by expectations of the Igbo? The Igbos actually expected Gowon to confess before now. The time of reckoning has come. The Igbos were brutalized, subjugated to all manners of, let me say, humiliations in the past without reparation, without payment, without compensation, even apology. I could remember 3-4 years ago, Gowon was confronted on social media, Facebook to be precise, to actually confess, apologize to the Igbos. He stood on his feet, debunking it, renouncing apology and the compensation now statement, saying that he had no apology fighting the Igbos. I think that single statement actually made him a fool then, thereby setting the entire social media platform on fire. Gowon said he had no apology killing the Igbos, committing the Igbo genocides of 1966, 67, 68, 69, and 1970. And that was what actually, made him a fool in his recent statement about Igbo genocide. Gowon collaborated with Britain, killing the Igbos in their large numbers, to the tune of 4 million Igbos in the war of Nigerian Biafra, civil war. He was, confronted over time to make an apology or actually give real, accurate account of what actually happened during Nigeria Biafran civil war of 1967 to 1970. He refused to give account of that. Even most of his books, he could not even shed, more light on why the Igbos were subjected to such, let me say, heinous hostilities. To the level that the entire Igbo military officers were put to death from 1966 to the beginning of 1967. The entire Igbo senior officers, the entire paramilitary Igbo officers were visited in their various locations and designations in 1966-67, mowing them down with blades. Supervised by British tabloid, press, the Igbo youths from 12 years up were at least shot by Nigerian military clerk led by Yakubu Gowon. So recently we've seen a resonation of what Gowon refused to actually, accepted in the past. He now throws more light on the origin of the war from its roots, from tribal antagonisms to the ruthless British, government policy that actually supplied Nigerian military clique led by the Fulanis and the Gowon himself, that actually supervised, conducted the biggest bloodbath in African history. The Igbos were killed up to 3 million in number, to the level of the fact that some countries in Europe actually began to agitate for savings, sending materials, making peace to save the Igbo children. The Igbo children were chokered in their large numbers, children that lack the basic nutritional food materials. Countries like Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, And the Finland actually began to deny their children school fees, contributing money to donate for Biafran children that were subjected to kwashiorkor, death as a result of kwashiorkor. I could give you accurately an account how Finland denied their children school fees, nationally contributed money to save Igbo children, kwashiorkor Igbo children, by sending reliefs, food reliefs into Biafra land. 1967, 68, 69, 1970 to be precise. The Austria, the Belgians, the Scottish, Scotland, they sent Cadbury Bonvitas, corn milk, other nutritional, food in quantum, just to make sure that Biafran children in their various schools, were saved from kwashiorkor. Because once immediately the war stopped, they began to visit schools, primary schools, secondary schools all around Biafra, even the churches, distributing Cadbury Bonvita, milk, stockfish, and other, food with nutritional values. So that was how we were persecuted, died in our large number as a result of an accusation, empty accusation, laid against Igbo man by Gowon and his group or camps, military colleagues, supervised and led by British Labour government that used BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, to accuse the Igbos of masterminder, singly sole masterminder of the coup of 1966. And later we began to see many apologists, repenting, coming out to apologize, at least sympathizing with Igbos by their many writings, books, to indicate that the coup of 1966, the large numbers were the Hausas and the Yorubas. The Igbos were there just 3 in number. And we died of what we did not know. Today we are campaigning on social media reparation to be paid to Igbo man by the British Labour government in those days, which has translated into this current administration of Stekama. They must pay reparation up to the tune of 6 trillion UK pounds, United Kingdom currency. Then again, we're not talking about what this current contraption, illegal and defaulted contraption, a country that was structured based on criminality, Nigeria, should pay to the Igbo man. We are waiting for reparation, and with that, I'm trying to tell you that for Nigeria to be a better place today, they must appease the blood of the Igbos by paying reparation to Igbo man. We don't need compensation as in giving us federal appointment or designation, to work there. No. Compensation, financial. They must pay. They must pay. Or else, they must pay. My own suggestion or hint is Nigeria must divide and let the Igbo man go. There's no other compensation needed by me.
Well said, Mr. Rav. Now that the internet is on fire concerning this statement that Gowon has made, would you say this is a doom for the Biafra struggle or positivity all the way for them with this statement that is coming out?
Yeah, it's a positivity to all Biafrans. It's never a doom. It is never a curse. It is never a Waterloo before the Biafrans. It is a victory. Biafrans are rejoicing in their various camps and areas right now as a result of what Gowon has actually said recently in the social media, that he wrongly connived with the Fulani Janjaweeds killing and murdering the innocent Igbos from 1966 to 1970 to the tune of 4 million Igbo just because of our crude oil. The oil exploration that started in Niger Delta region in 1958 was the reason why Gowon, in conjunction with Egypt, France, Chad, Niger, and other European countries like Russia, fought Biafra, killed these black Jews in their large number, to the level that the Knesset, the Israeli current law-making body, has actually accepted that Igbo man died as a result of what they suffered during the era of Adolf Hitler in Germany, the Holocaust of 1930-1940s. They must pay the black Jews. They must pay Igbo man reparation. They must pay the atrocity committed by the Fulani Janjaweeds and the Nigerian military clique led by Gowon from 1966 to 1970. They must pay. they must pay reparation. I'm telling you, it's a celebration for the Igbos. It is never a doom to the Biafrans.
There is no way we'll talk about the Biafra struggle without mentioning Nnamdi Kanu, to be precise. A man came out saying that Nnamdi Kanu cannot be freed unless the Southern of Sokoto makes a statement, because they are the one holding him, that the president of Nigeria is just fulfilling the wish of the former president, Buhari. What would you have to say about this? Because questions have arisen, because Southern of Sokoto is not the president of Nigeria. Why would they come out to say that he's so powerful to the extent that unless he tells Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to go, that is the only way
Tinubu is answerable to Southern of Sokoto. Asorok submits reports every day, on daily basis, weekly, hourly, monthly, yearly, to the Sultanate or Sokoto Caliphate, headed by Sultan of Sokoto. Listen, Nigerian government from the era of independence, 1960, each and every administration that comes and goes must pay allegiance, respect, honor to Sultan of Sokoto. Sokoto Caliphate has been in control since 3 centuries ago. From the era of Ottoman Danfodio, the first bloody jihadist we have in South Africa, in West Africa, that migrated from Timbuktu. Timbuktu is in Mali, from Senegambia, that is Futajelo Island, into northern Nigeria, where he has actually forced the Hausa natives, forced Islam on them, slaughtered all their Sarikis, their kings, forced marriage on their women. And today, the Hausas could not get themselves. They absolutely disoriented the Hausa locals, bending them into Islamic ideology, trying to at least dominate the Hausas politically and otherwise. And certainly, they are in charge in Nigeria. They are in control of every government that comes to be in Nigeria. Sokoto Fulani is in charge. To the level that abduction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu illegally from Nairobi airport was conducted by the same Fulani Janjaweeds under the supervision of the then Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. Kanu assumed them all in the court under the supervision of Binta Nyako, who actually watched her hands of Kanu's case to avoid international disgrace. But there come along a disgraceful Yoruba man, James Omotocho by name, because of the kind of abhorrence and detestation, hatred the Yorubas have against Igbo man, rule it out that Kanu should not be freed, rather either condemnation to death or life jail. That come what may, Biafra has come to stay. If Kanu is not out, there should be no election in the southeastern Nigeria. We are not people that you could bend with your Islamic ideology. We turn our back to respond or to bow before Islam. We are all Igbos, and we know what is good and we know what is bad. We can never succumb to Islamic ideology. So don't ask to keep on worshiping and worshiping the very God, particular prophet you call your savior. Igbo man must serve and worship his own Chukwu Okika Abiame. And you can never bend that. See, let me tell you, if Kanu still remain inside, there should be no election in the southeastern Nigeria. Mark my word. If you want to change it, let us wait and see. Election is coming, fast approaching. January 2027, we should know who is saying the truth and who is fumbling, or at least, telling lies.
A governor in the northern part of Nigeria made a statement, put a bounty on the head of a pastor, that he will give so amount to whosoever person that brings this person that he wants to kill, he wants to buy the pastor. That brings me to my question, how a man came out shouting and lamenting that why are these people becoming so powerful in Nigeria? Why would a man from the northern part of Nigeria put a bounty on a pastor's head simply because he made a statement concerning
Christian genocide,
their prophet?
Okay,
so he wants to take his life. Mr. Ralph, what would you have to say about this? What is giving these people so much power and so much dominion in Nigeria?
You know that Yoruba has failed southern Nigeria. Could be, let me tell you in history, that Yoruba did not succumb to Islamic agenda of the Fulani Caliphate in the north. Yes, my story is coming. When Oyo Empire was waxing strong, it was between Oyo and the Kwara. that the issue was. Oyo Empire was dominating until they had issue with Afonja. And Afonja seemed to be from the axis of Kwara. A man who wanted to subjugate and bring down Oyo Empire by inviting or succumbing to Ottoman Dan Fodio as a Fulani warrior to assist him fight his opponent in Yoruba land. That was how Yoruba succumbed to Islam. And this kind of intimidation has actually given the Fulanis, yes, especially Ottoman Dan Fodio, that upper hand to have all this kind of rubbish going on in Nigeria. They sponsor terror in Nigeria. They sponsor intimidation. They can do and undo in Nigeria. They have the right to topple this government. If you don't know, I want you to go through the list of the current coupists in Nigeria. The plotters are 100% Fulanis. I don't understand. No Yoruba man is there. I don't understand. So they have upper hand because of what happened 1804 during the era of Islamization. Ottoman Dan Fodio conquest, Fulani conquest of the north. That was what gave them upper hand because the Hausas were too soft. Yes, as docile as anything, even idiots. That's why they have upper hand. Now Fulani man believes that he's a king in Nigeria. Just imagine. How many are they in number? How many are the Hausas, are the Fulanis in number? So that's why they keep on intimidating, bringing the Igbos down, bringing the Yorubas down, intimidating the Hausas to stupidity. Nobody matters to the Fulani man. The Fulani man is seeing himself as a king over Nigerians. It is not surprising because of what their Quran, Al-Quran, and their so-called bloody prophet told them. That's why they have the infantry to place bounty on the head of a pastor, a man that preaches Bible, the word of God. And nothing is happening in this part of the world because if you move as an Igbo man, Yoruba man as a Muslim will drag you back. I don't know whether you understand where I'm going. If it could be only the Igbos that the Hausas fell, Benue axis where Atto of Igala dominated failed, then the entire Igbo enclave failed Islamization. I think it would have been worse than this. But no way. We say game up to all their bloody campaign evangelism to turn this part of the world into Arab Islamic Republic. It's because of Igbo man's resilience. Igbo man is a warrior. Igbo man would rather die than to succumb to Islam. It is written down. Igbo man, we are here to actually prove whom we are to the Africans. We are the earliest people on the continent of Africa, and they could see our culture, our population, and the tradition. We are everywhere in the world. Sardauna Oskoto is nobody but a coward, placing bounty on the head of a pastor. We know Sardauna sponsors it. That very particular person that placed the bounty, we are waiting for him to cut off the head of the pastor. The Christian genocide going on across Nigeria is not stopped yet, but we are waiting for the finality. The finality, the climax, is what is going to judge every actions that we are going to take right from now till when it comes to an end. What gives them the infantry politically is so lucid and plain. Nigerian politicians, especially the mid-belt, the southwest and the south-south and southeast, as they dismember this country into various regions to subjugate us into that ideological divide and rule. They, I mean the politicians, are the one in charge and the cause of our woes, political woes today. We are slaves to the Fulanis politically because of Nnamdi Kanu, because of people like Tinubu, because of people like Charles Soludo, because of some thieves like Bayan Onuga, because of some political idiots like Dala Lake and Gbajabia Mila Femi. These are the errant boys of the Fulanis who could not stand on their feet and prove whom they are. Look at how Hope Uzodinma toppled Emeki Hedioha, who won an election in Imo State. Hope Uzodinma came forth. From forth, Fulani Janjaweeds used the Supreme Court and brought the first person down. The fourth person become the first person. We are in an era of Fulani Janjaweeds. Under the Fulani, let me say, hegemony, Nigeria has never gotten herself since independence. And that's why our economy, technology, and advancement into science are still dwindling because we are not telling ourselves the truth in this part of the world. The Fulani Janjaweeds, they have actually held the tiger by the tail, because by the time Biafra finishes, Saddam Hussein will begin to understand the reason why we are the Igbos. We are not relenting. We don't care what the man that places bounty on the head of the pastor is doing or saying. All we the Igbos knows, we can never bow before Islamic ideology or Islam as a religion in totality. Never.
Why do the Igbos keep calling on the Fulanis that they are the reason why they have not achieved the Biafran breakaway? This was a statement coming from the north, because you talked about divide and rule. Now they made a statement saying that the Igbos are the enemies of themselves. How do they think they're going to achieve the struggle when they are the enemies of themselves? Strong statement coming from the north. What would you have to say about this, Mr. Ralph?
Yeah, because they use politics to confuse the Igbos, like the names I mentioned in my analysis, preliminary or primarily. I mentioned Hope Uzodinma is an enemy of the Igbos. I mentioned Charles Soludo is an enemy of the Igbos. I mentioned Ojus Okalu is an enemy of the Igbos. I mentioned Benjamin Kalu of the House of Rep is an enemy of the Igbos. There are many political idiots, Igbos, that are turning against Igbo cause. Igbo cause, Igbo arrangement and development and emancipation. There are many politicians in Igbo land that are the cause of Igbo problem. And these people that are raising these questions are behind it all. They are the ones using politics to seduce, to deceive the Ojus Okanos, the Atoezes, the Charles Soludos, the Hope Uzodinmas, and the rest of those political Igbo idiots that are dragging Igbo man back. So such question to me, it has simple answers. They use Igbo man against himself, buying into the ideology of divide them and rule them, crack their heads together and divide them and manipulate them. That is not what they use only against Igbo tribe. They use it against other tribes in Nigeria. If you come to southern Nigeria today, the entire coastal line of Biafra are Igbo nationalities. They use divide and rules against Ikwere man, intimidating, deceiving Urobo man, that Efik man and the Bibio man are not his brother. Something they use in the mid-belt, and actually united all of them into one single language, Hausa. And let me tell you today, the Hausa is beginning to have problem with Fulani because of what Nnamdi Kanu preached to them previously from 2015 till date. Hausa began to come out from total disorientation they found themselves in many years ago. Today, Hausa man is seeing a Fulani man as his problem. Their time is up. I'm telling you that the era of Fulani expulsion from Nigeria into Sahel desert is coming gradually. Igbo man is never an enemy of himself.